Welcome to this live feed. Hoping everybody is beautifully well who is joining, wherever you may be in the world. We're speaking to gratitude. Now, gratitude is one of those topics that we all speak too often. We mention the word gratitude or appreciation. We understand how it impacts our lives to some degree at least. We immerse ourselves in gratitude regularly for the large part of life. And gratitude is something that we know is transformative, we know is healthy for us, but sometimes we forget, and we forget how to be grateful, we forget how to be appreciative, we don't understand what it means to actually be grateful. And when I say we don't understand, it's not a cognitive thing or an intellectual process, but rather, Rob, how are you, my friend? But rather, it is a process by which we lose ourselves so much in despair or sadness or difficulty that we're experiencing, challenge, pain, fear, etc. Hey, Michelle, how are you? It's wonderful to see you as well. Very grateful to have you here. And in that, hey, Mandy, how are you? Hello to everybody that's joining, by the way. Very grateful to have you here in so many different ways. So we lose ourselves in this pain and this challenge, this frustration, and we forget what's working in our lives. Now, there's nothing wrong with being frustrated. There's nothing wrong with being in pain. There's nothing wrong intrinsically with feeling fear. There's nothing wrong with feeling challenge, experiencing challenge. Hey, Paulette, how are you? With experiencing difficulty and allowing ourselves to just be in that space. It's healthy for us to experience a spectrum of emotions. Yeah? Generally, the varied emotions that we feel, they're gateways to other elements and levels of feelings. They generally release tension, emotive tension, psychological tension and stress, relational tension and stress. They give us perspective. They help us understand ourselves better. There's a myriad of benefits that come from just feeling. The issue that we face, hey Julia, how are you? The issue that we face is that we remain in this negativity too long. It perpetuates within us. We remain in this pain body or these pain bodies for so long. And it remains with us for such a period of time that it becomes the norm for us. And being grateful or appreciative or focusing or paying our attention to what is actually working in life becomes a deep challenge within itself. It becomes almost obsolete within our behavior. It becomes obsolete within who we choose to be. I want to share a personal story with you. And I was talking to a dear friend of mine today about this. We were talking, yeah, it's interesting, Michelle. Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be grateful. And of course, it's easier to be grateful when we're in a good place, when we feel healthy, when we feel connected, when we feel connected to ourselves, when we're happy with who we are, when we're happy with what's going on in life. But the key or the power for us is to experience and express gratitude and appreciation for life, and express gratitude and appreciation for life, for ourselves and for who we are, when we're actually feeling despondent and challenged in life. And again, allowing ourselves to feel those the presence of those emotions that move through us, but of course to realize that life is temporal, experiences and circumstances are temporal, and in that temporal nature of being, there's always a way out, there's always a way through, there's always another option to feel if what we're feeling is deeply disheartening and discouraging and not really aligned with an open state of being. And an open state of being is one that is open, that is not restricted, that is not constricted. One is that expansive, courageous way to feel about life. The other day, actually, we have here in Australia, we're very blessed that we have the local municipal comes and collects our rubbish. So as a human being, we have an ecological footprint on this earth. We can minimize or we can extend that, but generally, to some degree, we produce waste. We live in a society that produces waste, and as individuals, we're responsible for our own waste. So every Monday evening, I have a bin. I mean, I live on my own, so I don't have a lot of waste, a great deal of waste, and I do my best to recycle and so forth within the systems that we have. That's another story. But I do my best to recycle and so forth. And I'll put the bins out. I'll put the bins out on the verge every evening, or every Monday evening rather. And on Tuesday morning, the verge collection comes, the bin collection comes and collects the bins. And you're thinking, maybe you're thinking, what has this got to do with gratitude and appreciation? And I see the lid open, and there was once rubbish in there the week before and the Monday evening, and now there's not rubbish on the Tuesday morning. And I close the lid and I take a deep breath in, and I feel so grateful that I have access to this resource. I feel so grateful that I have access to this service. And honestly, it is a deep feeling of appreciation that I live in a society where all I have to do is this, and I have clean running water. Clean enough. Clean enough. It's another story for another time as well. But just this, and I have hot water. Just this, and I have what's arguably drinkable water. Billions of people around the planet. There's about 7.6, 7.7 billion people on the planet at the moment, maybe 7.8. Billions of people do not have access. Billions of people live in their own rubbish, in their own filth. We produce filth as human beings. We're organic matter. We're carbon-based life forms. We produce organic matter. When we eat organic matter, it has to come out somewhere. People live in their own feces. Most of us don't think about this. Like, how blessed are we that every week someone will come and collect our rubbish. Someone will come and collect that rubbish that we produce. We turn a tap and we have clean water. We live in homes where we feel safe and secure for the most part. This cultivation of gratitude, this deep cultivation of appreciation, recognition for who we are and what we have access to it's an entitlement. It's a gift. It really is a gift. And when we recognize it for what it is, which is a gift, we grow tremendously. But what it also does is it opens our minds. It expands our hearts. It allows us to see the world from a different lens and a different perspective. And then we ask ourselves, how then does this gratitude, does this feeling and embodiment, this neurological, behavioral, emotional, fully embodied embodiment of gratitude affect the quality of our lives and the quality of our relationships? If we cannot be grateful for the subtleties in our lives, if we do not practice and expose ourselves to the subtleties of what is working in our lives and what we truly could be and can be appreciative for, how can we notice the subtleties in intimate relating? How can we notice the gifts, that intimacy, that the people in our lives give us? Thank you, Sky. How can we honor others fully, completely, deeply, to understand the nuances of their intention when we cannot notice the simplicities in our lives that give us and bring us great joy, implicit joy, without us even noticing? How can we notice that in others? Now, there is no doubt that that we are relational beings. We are socialized, social, relational beings. We do not exist without relating to something or someone. We are social beings. The necessity to be part of something, the necessity to be part of a group that you have some level of attachment to, some level of cohesion with, some level of interest in, some level of connection to, is so imperative for our health and our wellness. Countless of cross-cultural studies have been done where people have asked, what is the key to happiness? What is the key that unlocks happiness? And yes, a physical environment that is safe, sound nutrition, access to resources, shelter, of course, basic physical needs being met is very important. And beyond that, of course, being able to thrive in our physical environment. But the number one key for longevity in health and happiness, being content, deeply content in life, is the quality of our social circles. Now, the quality of our social circles are enhanced and they evolve and they become more empowered, when we are able to appreciate and be in deep gratitude for what we are receiving, what we are being exposed to, and what we are actually feeling. And the practice of gratitude and appreciation allows us to connect deeper to the nuances of who we are, to the subtleties within ourselves. So therefore, we begin to know ourselves with greater efficacy, with a greater connectedness. We begin to understand who we are and know who we are from a place of openness. We begin to identify what's truly, truly important in life. And gratitude, I would argue, for lack of a better term, or I would state very clearly and hand on my heart that gratitude and appreciation, earnest, honest gratitude and appreciation, directly provides us with greater connectedness to our loved ones and to ourselves, to who we truly are. And who we truly are is ever evolving. Who we truly are allows us to move through the world in such a way that when we are grateful and appreciative, we are in an open state of being, and we become far more curious and creative, and we focus on the potential and the possibility of what is a reality, a projected reality that we can create, as opposed to coming from a place of restriction and constriction. And the reality is that the more grateful we can be for what we have in life and identify with this and begin to pay attention to this and notice this in every single way possible, the more we will get that in our life. We will receive that in our lives. And this isn't so much coming from a perspective of spirituality, and not that there's anything wrong with spirituality in any capacity. This is coming from a place also of the way we interact, our physical being interacts with the physical world around us and within us. I wish I could express to you the gratitude I have for walking to my verge, flipping that lid over in that bin, closing it and rolling it back to its place in my house, in my home, and how grateful I am for that rubbish being taken away every week. I wish I could explain to you that. I wish I could explain to you the gratitude that I, like in words, like I just don't feel, and you know, I like words. I just I like words. I also like to feel. It cut out, the wireless stopped working. Apparently I have NBN. Clearly I fucking don't. Anyway, so what I was saying was that this deep gratitude that I have for just being able to have access to so many resources, this deep feeling within. It's amazing. I believe on the previous video, Michelle, I just saw one of those comments that said that, you know, I used the example of rubbish being in Bali. Absolutely, and it's not just the rubbish; it's the access to resources. Like, we are so blessed living in the Western world. There is so much value that we have living in the Western world. Yeah, a must have, Michelle. I don't know what's wrong. It's Australian NBN, it's Kevin Rudd, it's Japan, it's everything. It's just crazy. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So sorry about the previous video. It just cut out. Yeah. So this gratitude, I want to hit that point home. That's so important. This gratitude that we have, that we can have, and that we can cultivate within ourselves very deeply, when we allow ourselves to feel what is working in our lives, when we just stop for a minute, just for a moment, a minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, multiple minutes every day, just stop and feel what is working in life right now. Stop and feel what is happening in my life right now that is so deeply empowering, that is serving me and that is allowing me to serve others. And when we ask this question and we come from this place, because we know that the quality of the questions that we ask ourselves in life determine the quality of the lives that we live. When we come from this place, when we come from this space, we grow tremendously. We're able to give so much more to life. We're able to be so much more present to life. We're able to feel so much more, and we don't know what we don't know. This is the paradox that we live in. So when you choose to immerse yourself in gratitude and appreciation, you're essentially choosing to be a clearer person. You're ultimately choosing to be a person who recognizes the value in their lives. And instead of focusing and spending so much time during our days on what is not working, on all the challenges and the difficulties, we are able to spend time on what is working, which creates space within our psyche and our emotional bodies. And within our physical bodies as well, our nervous system relaxes and we don't feel so much tension. And we can problem solve and we can be creative, and life just comes to us in that way. And the carryover, the parallel that's drawn in appreciating life, in being gratuitous in life, is that in romantic relationship, in intimacy, in the intimacy that we share with ourselves, with our own being, we can learn greater practices of self-care, self-love, self-worth. We engage in deeper self-worth. Yeah, I've just started, Emma, but I haven't. The video cut out before due to poor internet wireless connection. Apparently, Michelle said that all the gratitude just blew the circuit. So I'm not sure, but this is the continuation. I just started it again. It ended the video. So this is the second part to it. I'll put it in the title so everybody knows if anyone comes back to it. But essentially this gratitude, how it plays a significant role in our relationship, is that it enhances and evolves our relationships to such a point that we're able to see the intricacies in the relationship that need attention. We're able to see and feel and directly observe exactly what is working in the relationship and perhaps what needs evolution, what needs attention. But that doesn't mean that we can't be grateful for that. Because if we can be grateful for all the little things in life, the nuances that we experience in life, and truly come from a place of deep contentment and connection, imagine how that carries over into our relationships. Imagine how that carries over into how we feel about ourselves. Imagine for a moment when you look at your beloved, or you look at your partner, or you look at someone that you care about deeply, could be a family member, could be a friend, it doesn't matter. Or even when you look at yourself and you see that something is not working in life, something is really challenging you, and it's continuous, it's perpetual. This is the interesting thing. We can be grateful for that. We can be grateful and appreciative for this element or part of life that is challenging us, because we know that if we remain open to that, we'll be creative. And in that creativity, we will actually observe and discover a way to move through that where we can grow, where we can evolve and enhance our being. And this is the power of gratitude and appreciation. This is the power of tapping into a resource, an internal resource that we have. Everybody has this, and it's not easy. I'm not saying it's all easy and difficult or a matter of perspective, but generally it requires effort. And you can interpret effort as you like. You can interpret effort as something that's easy or difficult. You can interpret effort as something that is seamless, something that is actually lends itself to the evolution of who we are, to the growth of and the expansion of who we are. And doing this and embodying this allows us to increase our capacity in relationship. There's no one that I've met that does not want to have loving, open relationship. It doesn't want to belong. It doesn't want to be part of a tribe, a meaningful, well-aligned, value-aligned tribe There's no one that I've met that wants to live in isolation consistently. As people, we need love. We need to feel that we belong. We need to feel that we are known, that we are seen, that we are heard. Now, of course, this can only go so far. We can only be known, heard, and seen so far for a number of different reasons, and that's okay. But to be in the presence of others that carry that intention is profound for who we are and how we move through the world. Imagine for a moment that you looked at all the facets of your life. You looked at everything that you were, all that you were, how you chose, how you moved through the world. You broke down your belief systems, you broke down your attitudes, you broke down your behaviors, you broke down your models of reality, you broke down the way you interacted, you looked at your shadow stuff, your shadow self, you journeyed deep into the shadow. You looked into how you treat others, how you allow others to treat you. You looked at your boundaries, the psycho-emotional boundaries and spiritual boundaries that you set for yourself. And you looked at the overall quality of your relationships. You just really observed your life at such depth. And you took time to do this. You really took a great deal of time to do this. And in essence, you put a lot of effort in there. Hello, Linda. How are you, my love? A great deal of effort into understanding, knowing, connecting to who you are. So that when you make choices in life, when you make decisions with who you wish and whom you wish to spend your time with, and whom you wish to give your energy to, and whom you wish to allow into the depths and the chasms of your own life and your own being, and how you expose yourself emotionally and so forth, that you're making decisions based on who you were and what you needed in life to flourish, but also what you could give to others, how you could give to others fully. Now, isn't that a beautiful sentiment? Now, that comes from a foundation of appreciation. And that just rhymed. I didn't mean to make that rhyme. It just rhymed. So you lay a foundation of appreciation. Now, how cool is that? And if you consistently come from this place, even when times are tough, when life is difficult, when you're challenged, when you're pushed to your edge, when you're feeling tension, when you just want to be alone, there's nothing wrong with being alone. It's okay to be alone, good to be alone. I always say to people that I work with, to friends that I have, to people that I love and care for, there is a time in life to be alone, per se, to be on your own, to spend time with you, to learn about yourself from that perspective, from that vantage point. I'm a big believer in intimate relationships being a tremendous catalyst for our growth, perhaps the greatest catalyst for our growth, the greatest. But before we move into intimate relationship, rhyme in the live, does that rhyme? Rhyming on the live? Yes, Sky, I love it. But before we move into intimate relationships, spending time in silence and stillness and solitude, and of course that can happen in the intimate relationship as well, but spending ample time getting to connect to you and laying a foundation, not only of appreciation, but laying a foundation of evolution of self is so deeply important for how you choose to move through the world. So I urge you deeply to please begin to pay attention to what is working in life. Please begin to pay attention to what is important to you. And notice the little things. Hey, Annette, how are you? Notice the nuances in life. Notice around you, like the fact that we can go to a shopping center and have access to very healthy, nutritious food. The fact that most of us reside on coastal cities. And for the vast majority of us, those coastal cities are clean. We can jump in the ocean, be with nature. We needn't go or move very far. And we are immersed in the elements. And the elements are healing. The elements are profound for who we are, for our health, our overall health. For most of us, not all of us, but for most of us, we have access to social circles that are conducive to our health. We have access to peer groups, people that actually really care about us, sincerely care about us. I feel so blessed in my life that I have a handful of people that I can call and contact at any time in life, at any time, and they will be there like that. That is a blessing. And I know there are many people that don't have that. I also know I've contributed to the cultivation of that. So recognizing my own worth. And that's the whole point of this, is that when you can practice anything and we expose ourselves to anything, the brain adapts and adopts. The brain neurologically builds patterns around that, creates neuronal mapping and neuronal patterns around that influence our behavior and influence our belief systems, our models of reality, our attitudes, and the way we project out into the world. So if you are consistently noticing and being appreciative of what is working, you are being grateful for life, it becomes a conditioned habit, a healthy conditioned habit. And you will carry that over into relationships. You will carry that over into intimacy. You will be more appreciative of your partner. And from a very simple perspective, think about this. If you exhibit, express, show, demonstrate, whether it be through an emotional expression, whether it be through continuous action, whether it be through your behaviors and the way you communicate and connect, that you appreciate the people in your life, what do you think and how do you feel they will respond to that? Will they respond with animosity? Will they respond in an ill manner? No. No. They will respond in an endearing way. They will respond with love and affection. That is how they will respond. They will respond in an open manner. And giving people that, allowing people, like really giving people yourself, giving them who you are, noticing them, coming from a place of deep connection and love and appreciation and care and sincerity, and really, really harnessing your level of gratitude for your circumstances is a gift to give to anyone. And it can be daunting because we expose ourselves and we leave ourselves vulnerable. And for men in particular, for various cultural reasons, that can be very challenging. And vulnerability is not a weakness in any capacity. Vulnerability is an expression of our power and our ability to stand in our truth, self-confidence, our ability to exhibit and express our self-worth. That's a conversation or a live feed for another time. And a live feed for another time, by the way, I've just got one of my tabs open here, is chivalry. Speaking to chivalry soon. And chivalry is not fucking dead, FYI. Actually, this ties into appreciation, by the way. Chivalry is not dead. And when we keep saying chivalry is dead, guess what? We won't notice chivalry in our lives. It won't come to us. And chivalry works both ways, by the way. It works for all gender types, however you can, whatever gender type you consider yourself to be. But predominantly, chivalry is a masculine trait, and masculine and the feminine reside in both, in all of humanity. We're going to speak to chivalry. I'll do a live feed on chivalry at some point in the very near future. And to be grateful for the amazing, then we'll talk to men for a moment. To be grateful for the amazing men that you do have in your life will mean that you will notice the characteristics and the expressions of amazing men, or what you consider to be amazing men. You'll notice that chivalry as a practice, as an embodiment, is actually not dead. It's very, very alive. And it's morphing. We're in a transitory state right now in terms of how we relate to each other as people, as a humanity, how we interact with ourselves, how we interact with other sentient beings, how we interact with Earth. And again, that's another conversation for another time, but it ties into appreciation. So I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to say thank you so much for being here. I'm going to say I love you all very much. I appreciate deeply your comments, your interaction. I appreciate deeply your thoughts, your wisdom for being here. Please share this video or both videos if you feel this is part 2. If you feel there's resonance here and if you feel you've extracted some value, please feel free to share. And of course, I look forward to seeing you again soon on another live feed. I think the next live feed will maybe come from Melbourne. Actually, I might do a live feed next Monday. No, Tuesday, Monday evening. I'm running an event here. Thank you, Michelle. I'm running an event here in Perth. Actually, in fact, I'm running events in Perth, Melbourne, Brisbane, Auckland, Wellington, Wanaka. I'm back in Sydney. over the starting next Monday evening for like 2 weeks, on Mountains of the Mind, on how wilderness therapy can enhance our well-being and evolve our relationships as well. But beyond just wilderness therapy, how when we place ourselves in quasi-extreme circumstances, the carryover that has, and how we deal with the challenges and the pain and the fear that arises, how we can equilibrate and neutralize that and actually use that to evolve our own being. So next Monday evening in Perth, I think Wednesday evening in Melbourne, but I might do it live. I might live that. It's a free event on Monday evening, so I'll do that. But many blessings on your journey. Many blessings. Feeling blessed is a form of gratitude and appreciation. And may you be all very well. Please share this video if it resonates, and I shall see you again all very soon.